Hello everyone. Everyone? Anyone? If anyone actually sees this, my name is a profound name. Howdy nerds. And today I'm going to be showing you some grid selector panels. I have 4x4 versions with buttons and noteblock inputs for ceiling, walls, and floors. Whatever your heart desires. Assuming that's 4x4 selector panels and not something crazy like vertical slabs or world domination. I mostly have 4x4s because I'm using signal strength as the output. Depending on where you interact with it, you're going to get a different signal strength. This one gives me a 15. This one will give me 14. You can see that right here. And if I come all the way over here, I get a 0. Now, from there, it can go into a redcoder to go into binary. I'll show a version that has all 16 signal strengths, or of course, stay in hex stone. I also have a few 5x5 and 6x6s, if you're brave enough to observe the atrocity that is wiring those. My goodness. I like grids for the space they save, but also, if I travel a bit back in time, beep boop boop boop, beep boop, back in time to the color heist game. I showed a little bit about this a few videos ago, but the gist of it is Jeb, the color greedy sheep, has been stealing colors from a place called Colorville, and some players are supposed to go through an adventure map getting those colors back. When Jeb finds this out, he sticks them in his dungeon slash basement, where he stores a bunch of old crap, such as broken inventions. And he says, there's no way to escape. See, this is even the elusive jail exit. It's actually a piston puzzle, and you're going through cell by cell. And in the first cell, I have this grid up here. So I want to show you this because I think it is a fun way to have given clues to the player. This is a graph. I have a prismarine side and I have a copper side. And then there's 12 combinations between those two sides. And there are 12 pistons, each of them labeled with 2 blocks. So if I take this block and this block right here, we can do the first step that we need to in this specific puzzle, which actually, this belongs there right now. Nothing super grand, but it's kind of a fun way to give clues. Before I get to the panels, let's have a chat about reading redstone circuits. Because of the whole give a fish, teach to fish concept, I like to explain the ins and outs behind redstone circuits. Also, reading and writing from redstone grids is like a 3D math puzzle, which is basically a tailor-made challenge for my flavor of nerd. So of course I want to talk about it. Activate nerd mode. Oh yeah, there we go. There are 2 ways of reading redstone input grids. We have parallel fade lines and a fade grid. Speaking of fish, this fade grid is like a whole different bucket of them, and it's kind of secondary to the parallel lines in today's concepts. A couple of these do use it, but for the most part, we are using the parallel lines. So I will put this into the void of future and anticipation and only talk about reading the parallel fade lines today. Since variety is the spice of life, I have stepped away from Minecraft the game to show you Minecraft, the slideshow. Here I have a 7x7 grid of note blocks. This is simply the size that I have chosen for today's demonstration. To know where a player interacted with this grid, you need to know the X and the Y values. And then you can know which note block was interacted with, and you can assign values to it and whatnot further on. Even when I'm using all 16 signal strength with the selector panels, I'm still finding that information out first and then adjusting it to these. Here I have a horizontal example of the vertical grid fade lines. Barrier blocks makes it a little bit easier to see. Now, you might notice that there are a series of repeaters. Every other one go into a block, which means when they're going to be triggered, you have the torches on over here, but the repeaters aren't on yet. These blocks are going to be hard powered, which means the adjacent lines are going to also be powered. If I was, let's go back to here. If I was actually, or if the circuit actually looked like this, I could just move the repeaters for the high lines up one, but it's a demonstration of this circuit, so I don't actually have the ability to do that in the real circuit. Back to here, when those lines are on, their adjacent lines are going to be on, and I'm not going to get individual lines over here, or individual outputs over here. So the first thing that I have to do is separate the outputs. Thankfully, the repeaters going directly into the dust or the low lines, I don't have that contamination issue. So it makes separating the outputs a little bit easier. If I move the repeaters, the comparators, for the low lines forward, I can have the ones that have the contamination issues subtract and override from the comparators. See these red circles right here? Those dusts are going to subtract from the comparators, and then you're only going to get one at a time. So, sorry for the blurriness. And then as far as the X value, so that shows me the Y value right here, just whichever line is on. And the way that I see the X value is just how close the input is to the comparator. Before I continue, I want to share an extremely important concept with signal strength redstone, as it will make my next bit of explanation far easier to understand. The value of the signal strength doesn't matter. The thing that actually matters is enough individual pieces of information to get the results you need. Since binary is quite common in redstone, I will use that as an example. With binary, you have two pieces of information. You have off and you have on. The other 14 pieces of information redstone gives you can be used for transferring information. Imagine redstone fade within circuits or in busing lines. I'm not saying those who do binary don't use signal strength. I'm just saying in a truly binary circuit, it doesn't matter. Torches and repeaters, etc. don't care if they're powered by 7 signal strength, 14, or 1. They will either be off or on respectively until the redstone toggles. With the example of a 7-wide row of inputs, I need 8 separate pieces of information. One of those pieces will be for default/off, and then 7 consecutive signal strengths for the output. That means 8 pieces of information can be used in busing. Even in various places, they can be split up. It's about range and comparative value, not the signal strength number. My highest signal strength range for 7 positive inputs can be 9 to 15, or as low as 1 to 7. If I need a higher values for my next circuit, I can double invert, or if I need lower value, I can fade or subtract. Only when you're using all 16 signal strength do you not have any wiggle room for fade values. And even then, the values are not as concrete as they might seem. 0 can be truly 0, as in off, or with an extra step or two, it can be an inversion input for quote-unquote 1, and 15 can be the 15th positive, or even quote-unquote 16, just like in today's selector panels, which I truly am getting to. Just one more mini segment. Continuing on with the demonstration of reading from input grids with the parallel fade lines, I have a 7x7 note block grid. I'm going to actually read from this. It's not just for looks. So I have observers looking at the note blocks. Then over here, I have fade line that the observers are writing to, and a 2-tick repeater in between observer and line. The 2-tick repeater is so that the signal strength is long enough for the comparators to see it. Also, like the demonstration, I do have the contamination issue. Anytime the far lines are being written, the adjacent near lines will also be activated. So I have to override those comparators. Unlike the demonstration, I have a comparator here, not a block. And that is because depending on the directionality of this circuit, you have to have an extra tick of delay there. I don't know. Sometimes you can have blocks there. Sometimes you have to have a comparator. So I'm going to show the non-directional as my primary example. As a person, if I interact with this noteblock grid, I can know where it is from the output information. Like if we hit here, we'll have 9, 10, 11 on the third from bottom. Redstone, however, needs a little bit more information than that, and this is really cumbersome. The Y value currently is being dictated by which of the outputs is activated, and the X value can be read from 7 different locations. Super inconvenient. So let's combine them, shall we? If we come over here, we have a addition to the circuit to give us a signal strength for the Y value. And the way that we're doing it is after the separations, you can see the comparator that's being overwritten here, we are going to max out the signal again, and that's going to erase the X value information so that we can get a Y value. So we're erasing the information, and then we have a fade line up to give us the Y value here. So we have the X fade line, and then we have the Y fade line. Now the wide fade line is on both sides, and this side has 2 tick repeaters to sync up the different delays, since this side has 2 comparators before the repeater. Now the reason I did the whole thing about signal strength the value of the signal strength doesn't matter, just enough information does, is because we are fading a little bit here, and we're going to get 13 as the highest number, not 15. So highest number 13. Lowest number will be 7. So that gives us from the range of 7 to 13 for the Y value. Now, because I no longer need 7 different outputs for the X value, since I'm reading the Y value separately, we can combine all of this information in the back. So I have added this little circuit. Now, you might notice that this comparator right here, the line is going to fade a good bit compared to these, and that is why I'm subtracting from these comparators, just to sync everything up. Now, the highest number I'm going to get is 10. The lowest, which I guess I can do from up here, will be 4. And since it's hard to get a 10, show the highest value with the redstone dust. We'll do it like this. Here we're going to have 9. 9, 9, and 9. And that's just to show why I fade it from over here and subtract it from here, so that the number will always be consistent. So now, if we are in the highest corner, we're going to get 10 and 13. And if we are in the low corner, for both numbers, we will have 4 and 7. Editor APN coming in here to say once you have put the dark blue back here, there's no reason you can't have the light blue looking like this and a little bit more efficient. You can also read the parallel fade grids with ray values, and that is where you're not separating the X and the Y value. Whereas over here, we're separating the different lines, then maxing it out to get rid of the X value and then fading it to get the Y value, and then reading the X value back here. With this one, we're not separating them. We're combining them. So this corner on a 7 by 7 is going to give it 3 signal strength by the time it fades here and then fades up. And the reason I call it array is because the numbers, kind of fade in a ray pattern. So seemed applicable. You can, if you just need 49 different codes with 2 different numbers, which you are using 2 different numbers with here, you have the X and Y separate. You can read the ray value from 2 different sides and you will get 49 unique codes. It's just one of the ways you can do it. And I do want to show this. This is the same circuit as that, but without having to have an extra comparator here. So if you're east-west orientation, you can save 2 ticks of delay and several blocks and do it this way. Ray value is what I am using for the selector panels. Here we have the signs with the ray values in the first slot, and then assuming it's different for the bottom 3 rows, I have a second number with the number we want, which happens to be this row you subtract 0 from. This row, you subtract 3 from the ray value. This row, you subtract 6 from the ray value. And this row, you subtract 9 from the ray value, which is very easily done because each of the rows is being read with a comparator that we can subtract from. Hey guys, it's time. It's time. It's time to talk about the panels. Oh yeah, you're not losing your mind. I'm losing my mind. Or I'm not losing your mind. You're losing your mind. Oh my goodness, this has been a long time coming. Because this video is so long and I'm losing my mind, I'm going to attempt to speedrun this. Wish me luck. Here we have the 4x4 wall version. When we interact with it, it fills a memory cell. Why am I using a memory cell instead of just a pulse? It is because I am using 0 as one of the inputs. That way, the default is not 0. The default is whatever I last messed with. There are other ways to detect 0. This is the way that I chose to do it, and this is my video, so get over it. The pink line is the reset line. Anytime I interact with it, it erases the memory cell so I can then rewrite it. Why is it pink? Because pink is always reset. Don't question me on that. I'm firm on this. For the horizontal versions, we have to do a little bit extra funky stuff where we are double powering the redstone lines because I don't have space to put a 2-tick repeater in it. Double powering is when the same comparator gets powered by multiple 1-tick pulses at the same time and will then react to 1-tick pulses. For some reason, note blocks will not work for this, so you have to use lamps. I don't know why. Don't ask me. I don't read code. It's a little annoying because you get 2-tick pulses, but the redstone at the end of it, it still works, so we're calling it good. Right now it's 15 because I last interacted with, I think this is 15. So let's make it 0. Whoa. And now let's make it 3. So with the double powering, we are actually reading from these 4 lines. That's the fade line. And then this one is another input to get the comparator to see it. So that's why you have 4 here and 5 here. Where is our floor version? Haha, here it is. It's basically the exact same as the ceiling version, except for its difference. There we go. Let's move on. Here we have the button by button version. Basically, all I did here is I added a button facade to the other circuit. The little staggering that I have in order to get everything to fit, I'm actually doing before the observers instead of after the observers. These blocks, as they change state, the comparator changes state, and the observer is simply saying, something changed, oh my, and putting the redstone out here. So if I interact with this, we're going to get 15. If I interact with this, we're going to get 13. Boom. It's so exciting. Oh dear. How committed am I to doing this speedrun? Let's do this in a second, shall we? All right, I want to show the 5x5 and the 6x6 wall version. Obviously, once you get to 5x5, that is 25 different note blocks. That is greater than the signal strength options that we have. So I'm splitting it into 2 memory cells. So these, okay, the bottom 3 are 1 through 15. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15. And then the bottom 2 will be 15 through, is that 5? No, 6. Right, that's how that works. It's a little bit clunky. Like I said, that's why I was kind of pushing the 4x4s. But you do get unique outputs. You have 25 different unique outputs. It just happens to be using 2 memory cells. And the pink line will erase from both. So you can switch between them. No problem. Same thing with a 6x6, except for there's 3 memory cells. It just gets increasingly ridiculous. You think this is ridiculous? Just you wait. I did do a 6x6 floor version. I didn't do a 6x6 ceiling version because once I saw the insanity that it took to wire this, I'm like, this is a... I feel like I am putting this in here as a silly meme. Like at this point, it's not even a serious circuit. It exists. It's just, ugh. All right. So this one has 3 different memory cells. We're going from 15 to 10, then 15 to 10, 15. I think it's 10. Is it 10 or is it? No, it's 9. I know how it works. Look at this comparator. This comparator is like, I'm only going to do my job if you put me down 1 block and read Nicholas Nickleby to me while singing. I don't know. It's just ridiculous, but it exists for your entertainment. Do you find? Are you not entertained? I don't know. I've never even seen that movie. I shouldn't be quoting. Here's the 5x5 version with the downward. Still ridiculous. A little less so. There's a world download. I don't see the need to go into the details about how this stuff works. Oh, I will say one thing. One of the reasons this is so cumbersome is you can't have 2 comparators in a row with the 1 tick pulse trick. You always have to have a block or a dust in between them. So I couldn't have this one next to this comparator. I had to have a block in between them. And that's why it gets so big. It's one of the downsides to kind of breaking the rules of comparators. There's some downsides. Who'd have thunk it? Is this the 5x5? Yes, so this is the 5x5 ceiling. Same redstone as the floor version, except for difference. Here we have the 4x4 button versions. And did I say speedrun? There is absolutely no way to speedrun these and explain them basically at all. Also, because they're using the fade grids, not the parallel fade lines, I said I was going to explain that in the future, so you get a demonstration. This button gives you 15. This button gives you 0. This button will give you 0. Yay, that's the first lamp. And this button will give you 15, which will be the last lamp. Future video. Future video. Editor APN to say, so much for speed running. I complained about these for like 2 minutes, so I cut that part out. And here you can see them. They're the 5x5 versions. This says, avert your eyes, save yourselves, because they're so hideous and ugly. You can look at them in the world download if you want to. As promised, here is a decoder with 16 different outputs. Right now I have 0 in it, and that is being written by the inversion of the memory cell. I can put 15, the last lamp will be on, and then if I do 1, I can show why I have this repeater up high. If I had the repeater here, it would read from this dust being pointed into this block. There are other ways to do it, but given the fact that I have stuff right here, that was just the easiest way to do it. I think that's it for today. I'm going to show you, I started this video like forever and a half ago, and I had so much trouble doing it. My daughter decided to show me how to record a video. So I do have that because I thought it was cute. Other than that, thank you for watching and goodbye.
Look at this. This is very nice.
It's beautiful.
It's very nice. And look at this smart redstone. I made it. All myself. I made it. And wait, where? And I made all this Whee! Look at all my smart stuff. It's beautiful. And if you click buttons, it'll do things. But if I click anything, I'll probably break it.